Now in this lesson, I would like to take the second part of Knoxville Blues and basically turn it into a series of finger picking exercises. Now this song is actually very similar to the country blues classic Vastapole, and is very good for a beginner song or for a more seasoned player who would like to learn how to use finger picks. Now understand, the lessons on CD 7 are really intended to teach musical theory. So regardless if you're playing a 3-string or a 4-string cigar box guitar, or a 5-string banjo, or a standard guitar, I'm sure you're going to find all the lessons applicable. Now the theory I'm talking about is really fundamental, like addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. Nothing complex. It's easy to learn, easy to understand. But if you're going to go into more complicated styles like classical and jazz, you'll have a really strong foundation to build on. I really can't say it enough that by learning theory and how music works, the fingerboard will open up. It'll make more sense and you'll continue to build on what you're learning. It won't be like a dead end. Okay, before you attempt this, I'd really suggest that you work through the 5 fundamental fingerpicking exercises and become comfortable and proficient before moving on to a song, because you're going to see that material we're going to use right now. Now let me play exercise number 1 around 3 times just so you know what we're working on. The left hand, I'm playing a little double stop on the first 2 strings. First string 7th fret, second string 8th fret. And you also notice that I'm bending up the second string and keeping the first string where it is. That's the trick, just bend the second string. Now actually that second string note is the flatted 3rd from the pentatonic blues scale, and you're bending up to the major 3rd. That tension between flatted 3rd and major 3rd is what the blues is all about. Okay, so now with the picking, let's break it down to this little part. The bass is going like this. Just that little part. So now the question is, when are we doing pinches, or when is the treble note falling in between the bass notes? So we're just going to work on this little part right here. Let me do that again. Just that part. Okay, let me break it down for you. So I'm starting with a pinch on strings 6 and 2. Then I'm playing the first string. My thumb comes down on string 4. Play the second string. Pinch 6 and 1. Then your thumb comes down on the bass string 4. So that's the whole thing. Okay? Now you're going to play that 3 times, but on the 3rd time you're going to stop at the pinch. You're not going to go for that bass note. So just like this. 1, 2. Just end on that pinch. So to finish up that picking pattern, we left off on a pinch on string 6 and 1. I'm going to play string 2. My thumb will come down on string 4, and then I'm going to pinch 6 and 1 again, but open. Okay, so that little addition part's going to sound like this. And then you're going to fill in with the bass. if I did it all together. Okay, so let me start exercise 2 by playing it around 3 times. Okay, so now we're moving into the 4 chord, which happens to be the G chord in the key of D. And many times you kind of do this little walk into the chord. So that walk I'm talking about is this part right here. So I'm alternating basically 6 and 4 still. So let's kind of just work on that little part. So it starts off where you're pinching strings 6 and 1 while you're holding the first string at the 3rd fret. Then you're pinching strings 4 and 1 as you hold first string 2nd fret. And then you're playing strings 6 and 1, but now it's open. So it's kind of like you're going like this. Now, even though I said this is a good beginner's song, it doesn't mean it's particularly easy to do. I mean, you're going to have to be patient and persistent with your practice because it's really teaching the meat and potatoes of this style of alternating the bass and playing the treble notes at the same time. But if you're interested in learning this style, really please consider purchasing CD 1 because it teaches exclusively open D tuning, and I also use other methods to kind of convey this information. For instance, on the CD I show you how to go from a single note to double stops to chords and then add the bass. So this is not the only approach. And additionally, I also teach monotonic bass, which is where you're simply kind of thumping on that low string and adding treble notes, kind of like you got to move. Kind of that idea. So armed with that too, this will get a lot easier.